All right, what up, Who That Nation? This is No Cap, No Filter Saints. I'm your host, Molly G. And I'm going to go ahead on and get into my recap of tonight's game with the Saints and the Jaguars. The score was way different than I predicted it to be, but I predicted the Saints to lose this game. Like, I just knew no matter what, we'll lose. Towards the end of the game, I was really hoping that we could punch it in the end zone and go into overtime and come out with the win, but Foster Moreau, he didn't come down with that grab. He was crying on the sidelines after the game, looked like. Hopefully he could, just focus and lock in and, maybe he just learn from this experience and just catch it next time, next time his number called in a situation like that. Alvin Kamara picked his head up. There was other guys coming to his aid, picking his head up. That's something that you want to see, I hope our fans don't attack the man online and come at him with all type of cancer jokes or, remarks and just nasty comments, things of that nature. Because, it's going to be people like that. But overall, I felt like, he was wide open. He could have made that grab. I don't understand why Jimmy Graham is on his team. Like, why sign him when you're not going to use him in the red zone? Is it just for nostalgia purposes or what? Like, Jimmy Graham easily could have been help in the red zone all these trips. People not even having second and third reads. It's just one read, you throw the ball to the first read. The very last play, we did a fade to Chris Olave. Like, why is this not going to Jimmy Graham? Why is this not going to Michael Thomas? Why is this not going to AK? AK and Mike Thomas had a good game all game. Like, why is you going to Chris Olave when it's been a disconnect between him and Carter the whole game? Speaking of Chris Olave, I said a few weeks ago, Michael Thomas is wide receiver one. If you can't see that right now, then you just blind. Like, you don't have to be a high flyer to be wide receiver one. Like I said before, Nick Underhill had posted on Twitter, the Saints need to be using Michael Thomas like the Chargers are using Keenan Allen. You ain't got to be a high flyer. You just got to be sufficient and catch the ball. And you got to know your routes. Whatever the disconnect is between Olave and Derek Carr is causing a rift between the two, and it's causing Olave to be in his head and just get taken out the game mentally. And when he's getting took out the game mentally, he's checking out. And when he's checking out, he's giving half effort. And when you're giving half effort, you basically quiet quitting and quitting on your team. And when you quit on a team, that's grounds for getting traded. At the very least, that's grounds for getting benched. If Trevor Penny could get benched for getting beat and just not missing and just not getting his assignments and missing his assignments, Olave could get benched for missing his assignments and giving half effort. A good coach will bench him. We got people like Shaq Davis and A.T. Perry who's hungry. But once again, that shows the incompetence of the coach. And those last rallies to me wasn't impressive. Prevent defense they was playing. When you play prevent defense, it prevents you from winning the game sometimes. We seen that. It's too much soft coverage, and not just running what you would just normally run. It's easy when you could get down the field like that. But we've been getting down the field before that. We just can't punch it in the red zone. But when it mattered the most, the defense just could not come out with that one last stop for the offense to just go do that game-winning drive off of one little catch. And Kirk took it to the house. Besides that, defense played lights out the whole second half. It was like about 6 minutes left, and Trevor Lawrence only had like about 12 yards passing. That was a good defensive adjustment. Stop Etienne on 4th and inches. We had like 2 fumbles. That's gimmies. And we still lost. And of course, the offense can't score and then give another defense a touchdown to the defense for the pick 6. For all that, we could play Jameis Winston. At least Jameis Winston gonna score in the red zone. At least Jameis Winston gonna have a few deep shots. I don't mind picks as long as you having more touchdowns than picks. You have a pick and you throw 2-3 touchdowns, I don't mind it. Especially if these 2-3 touchdowns, at least one of them, 2 of them, you making it count in the fourth quarter in the clutch time. But overall, the defensive adjustments was fine to me. The offense, of course, came out flat. Of course, getting in the red zone multiple times, not scoring. Of course, going away from the hot hand. A player will do good, but you don't see him again. It's almost like Pete Carmichael is just in his own head. And it's like, oh, well, they're going to be on him because he's hot. So let me go to him. No. Keep going to the hot hand until they show you they can stop him. Why is we running fade routes with Chris Olave? You got Jimmy Graham. You got Michael Thomas. You got Alvin Kamara. You got all these playmaking ability guys and big body guys. Then on top of that, special teams once again failing us. You can't make this up with Blake Groupie. You can't make this up. Another missed field goal. When we needed it most, Lou Hedley cannot boot the ball. I'm willing to sign Blake Gilligan again. At least he gonna boot that ball. And if he don't boot it, he probably will shank it to where Lou Hedley will send it inbounds anyway. So you might as well go with Blake Gilligan. That's just my 2 cents on this whole special teams. But we need to fire our special teams coach, but that's another story. Luckily, we got that 1 punt on that special teams, that 1 fumble. But even when we got the fumble, we couldn't score off of that. We getting gimme turnovers, and we still can't do nothing with it on offense. Now, we lost the game, and we did that comeback, putting up all them yards in soft coverage, and it's going to make it look like Pete Carmichael was starting to have it figured out. Now, he's going to keep his job even longer. So, losing the game in the fashion we lost it probably did more hurting us than helping us. So, expect for Ronald Curry to not take over play calling duties going into Indianapolis. I think we're going to win that Indianapolis game. Like, their receivers they have and the quarterback that's going to be starting, I really believe that we could just, take advantage of that. Like, I really believe our defense can suffocate them. Now, one thing I can say about them, they have 2 good running backs. I think they got Jonathan Taylor back, and they have Zach Moss, and he's pretty much having a dominant season so far. So if we could just shut down a run game, we'll be pretty straight. And these last 2 weeks, I think our run defense ain't been, superb, but it's been decent enough. But I actually think we win that game in Indy. That's going to be like the bounce back game. But for right now, we talking about this game. Trevor Lawrence, he escaped the pocket way too much for my liking. I wanted Derek Carr to keep doing that. He had some success when he did do it. I wanted him to keep doing it so he could keep the defense on the edge of their heels. Like when a defense got to just think about you running the ball, they keep them on the edge of their heels. They keep them on their toes. But when they know you just a statue and you likely not going to run, or you likely going to just try to get the ball off and they ain't got to worry about you escaping, shoot, they could just pin their ears back. They ain't got to worry about no angles. They ain't got to worry about containment. We got to worry about that, and I think that messes us up when we play these mobile quarterbacks. But when we play these mobile quarterbacks, we need to just draw up a better scheme for it. Like have a spy, have a cornerback blitz more. But I don't know why DA just don't do that more often. Because these scrambles be backbreaking. Crossing routes killed us a little bit in this game. that was actually the last defensive touchdown that the defense gave up was from a crossing route, and Kirk took it to the house. As you can see, when they needed a play, they went to 29. They went to the Debo, trying to get bailed out with a flag. Like, it's out now. Like, everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's going at 29 when they need to play. But I will say this: it was on one drive where him and May made two good plays back to back. May had made a play with a good tackle, stopping the guy from getting the first, and then Adebo made a play getting his head turned around and batting the ball up out of bounds. It looked like he was going to come down with the pick, but he didn't. I wish Marshawn would have caught that big pick and they wouldn't have got 3 points off that drive, but that wasn't no catch. So it was like, damn, man, if only a few plays just would have went our way, man. Just a few plays. But that's what you say when you're a bad team, especially when you beat yourself. And we do a lot of beating ourselves. Offensive line held up pretty decent to say we have all these, guys that's not starters on the line. Like, I think the right side of the offensive line was holding up pretty good. Like, Cam Irvin was doing a pretty good job at right tackle. Andrews Pete, he was getting his butt whooped all game by Josh Allen. I'm talking about pressure was coming all game. We could have had Penny in there for that, and Penny could have got some experience. But, the man been on the bench damn near the whole year. And that is Josh Allen. He's leading the league in sacks. So what do you expect? Like, you can't even much blame Pete. Max Garcia, he had one pretty good block. He had one pretty good block for a first down that Alvin had did. I think it was a pretty good block on a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. Now, it was on a first down. Like, we went for it on fourth, and I think Max Garcia, he made the hole open up for Alvin. But all in all, the offensive line did better than I expected. Like, I thought they was going to get caught killed out there. I thought it was just going to be just a total massacre out there. But they did pretty decent to say, we was down 3 starters. I don't know what they're going to do with Chris Olave. Like, this dude right here is supposed to be our franchise #1 wide receiver, especially, next season, which I don't think Mike going to be here. But if he's going to take that next leap, he's going to have to get his mental right. I doubt that we trade him because I just don't see DA doing that. Like, especially on the offense, I feel like he's going to need all the tools that he could get on that side of the ball if he was to be back here next year. The only reason he made CD expendable because he felt like, that's just another DB. I could find another one. This is my defense. This is my baby. I'm in charge of this. I'll just draft Alante Taylor and just make him do what it do. Plus, I already got a Debo and Laddie, so I felt like that's one of the reasons why they did that with CD. But I don't think he'll do that with Olave because that's not his side of the ball, and we just need all the help we could get on offense. But one thing that's going to shake up a team is when you bench a guy and then you just have him get his head right, and after he's benched for a game or two, maybe he come back in the right state of mind. Or if Shaq Davis or A.T. Perry playing good, shoot, maybe just keep them benched until they not playing good. But you got to do something. You got to be proactive. This is a loss that's going to be like a long time before we play our next game on next Sunday. So we got a whole lot of time to figure out what moves we're going to make for the better. And we should get guys coming back healthy. Like, I expect Ram to be back. I expect Jawan will be back, hopefully. Cross my fingers, because we desperately need Jawan. I expect some of these guys to get back. One thing I did like about this game, we started attacking the middle of the field. But that would cause that pick six to happen, because when you throw the ball in the middle of the field, that's where the turnovers happen. Like when them tip back passes pop up, that's when they could easily get picked off and just, ran back for a touchdown like how it happened on us. But sometimes you just gotta have to take that risk, because you see what happened when Kirk took that damn touchdown and he caught that crossing route in the middle of the field on us, and he took it all the way for like 40-something yards maybe. And right there, I knew we was going to lose. And if the defense would have came up with a stop right there, I'd have been confident that Derek Carr would have went down there and scored at least a field goal. And that field goal could have probably made us win that game, because the defense wasn't going to just give up a lot of yards to make them go drive down and get a no touchdown. Like, they would have probably got a field goal too and would have won in overtime, but I felt like we would have had the momentum. And everything is a momentum thing. Like, if Foster would have caught that pass, there would have been the momentum right there on us to win in overtime. We would have kicked them the ball. They would have just nailed it. And they probably would have just ran like a little running play, see what happens, see what they could get. Probably run like a little screen, see what happens, see what they could get. And probably like a few seconds, they'll probably just go deep just to see if they could get in field goal range. And then they'll just win in the overtime. Bearing that anything fluke happened or we don't get no flag. But yeah, man, I would have liked our chances if Foster Moreau caught that ball. Like, the momentum swing is a real thing in sports. And this really happening with our team. Like, when a momentum shift and is in the other team favor, the other teams usually winning on us. When a momentum shift and is in our favor, we'll win. But I don't like that, because momentum is a real thing. But when you always got it in your head, it's like, oh, well, the other team got momentum now, let's just go ahead on and roll over and let them win. When you got it in your head like that, nah, you just not a good team. You're not a good coach team. The good team, the momentum will be on the other team, but, they still going to find a way to just make a play, make a stop. They ain't going to just bend over and just let you just do whatever. And that's what I see happening to this team a lot. I wish Kendre Miller would have got a little bit more touches. I wish, Jamal Williams would have got a little bit more touches. I feel like Alvin Kamara, he did a whole lot this game. You want to put the ball in your playmaker's hands, but Alvin just ain't the only position right there. Like, you could spread the backfield around. Like, we brought all these guys to take some pressure off of AK. Shaheed, man, I wish we could just design plays to get this dude the ball in space. Like, why we can't do that? Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, if only we had Mike McDaniels as our offensive coordinator, man. But hopefully, man, with these next days that we gonna have extra off, we really, put something together to where we could just go on a run. Like, we don't really play no good teams, people. We don't play no good teams. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, we can easily put together like a 4-game win streak. Like, we could easily go, maybe, 7-4, like over the next few games. So that'll right there just be having us with our head above water. But, the incompetence of this coaching staff, it's hard to just say that, with full confidence. It's hard to just say that with full confidence. But, man, it was an entertaining game. I wish we'd have came out with the dub, but, man, bro, the Derek Carr had a lot of misses. Like, it was a lot of throws. Like, even to Olave, it was a lot of throws that was behind Olave that he had to stop for when he was doing crossing routes across the middle. It was a lot of other guys open that he could have hit. Michael Thomas was open on one play where he could have caught it first. There was another play where Jamal Williams was open where he could have caught it first. Like, there was a lot of guys that Carr was missing. And it was just some balls where, just Like damn, like he could have scrambled or he could have did something else, but he'll just throw the ball away or throw it out of bounds. Like yeah, that's good to do to be safe, but sometimes he'll do it like when he'll just be frustrated or something. But it's hard to do all these things when you just not on the same page as your wide receivers. Like you just don't want to throw the ball and he's going to be cutting in when you throwing it to the out, or you throwing it to the out and he's cutting in. Like when y'all not in sync, I mean, sometimes you're just going to have to play it safe. But man, it's just terrible seeing this team like this with this offense, bro. And I think the only thing that we can do is just change offensive coordinators and a new voice from up ahead. Gonna just, make everything like a trickle down effect, and everybody just get on the right page. Cause right now, I know AK was talking about Penn, and I know AK was talking about Chris Olave about everybody not being serious and taking film right, and probably coming in to practice late, trying to leave practice on as it end. Like we know it's those two guys, but if Penny could get benched, I think Olave should get benched. Let me know in the comment section what you think below.